So welcome to our first video. As with all the videos, I'm showing you things are modifiable. I'm going to run you through a whole sequence of things, all of which can be done in isolation. But if you're planning to work with weights, it's always a good idea, or to work vigorously, to warm up first. So we'll start off with some warming up sequences, and then followed by some sequences where we add weights, or you can choose not to add weights until you get used to the exercises and you know your body is fine with them. And again, start light with the weights. If you do, I know in our previous video I said you could do something short. If you do have something longer like a dog leash or a yoga strap, go and grab it, because I've changed my mind. I think there are ways we can use the longer strap earlier on in our sequences. So if you need to run and grab any equipment, do so. I'm sitting at the edge of my firm chair. My spine is long. So before we start, I'm going to have us ground and just come into our breath in this moment. This little brief exercise is something really great you can do whenever you're finding your mind spinning, or your mind has just been so busy and elsewhere all day, to come back into your breath and your body before you move, so that you're moving with kindness and with grace and with awareness of your movement, lessening the chance of injury and increasing the chances of yours bringing greater health to your own body. So come to sit. So remembering how we sat earlier, we're at the edge of our chair, knees are below or in line with, ideally a little below the hips. If you look down, imagine where your femur bone, the center of the thigh bone, is hitting your pelvis. That should be lining up roughly with the center of your knees, which should be lining up with the center of your feet. Most of us turn outwards, some of us turn inwards, and it's really great to learn to bring our feet into alignment so that we don't compromise the hips or the knees. We also can build strength from the ground up and alignment from the ground up. So even though we're not moving our feet or engaging them, we're sitting in a chair, we're not standing, we're still very aware of our feet. So bring your awareness to your feet, and then you're sitting on your sits, as yoga has renamed, where we sit the top of our femur bone or our base of our pelvis as the sits bones. They're not really the sits bones, but the sitting bones. So feel the sitting bones there. You want to actually feel them. Feel yourself on those, whether or not there's some flesh in between, doesn't matter. You're resting, you've aligned yourself on those bony protrusions on either side. And then the crown of the head is lining up with your tailbone. So a lot of us have a tendency to lean forward. A lot of us have a big tendency to lean back, rounding our spines, slouching, turning off our core, and really compromising our back and our core in the process. So bringing your long, beautiful spine. If you danced as a child, you probably remembered or an adult being told as if you had a magic thread from the crown of the head, pulling the spine long. It's a great way to think about lengthening the spine. Often when we lengthen our spine, we think of, a lot of us, when we're told to stand up straight, we just pop our chest back. That's not standing up straight, that's just arching our back. So I want you to think of your torso as being a cylinder that you're drawing upwards evenly. So, and as you're extending and lengthening, you're also knitting the core at the same time. So part of the power of yoga is often when we move in one direction very strongly, we're also moving in the opposite direction, or we're creating a counter movement. And in that, we build strength, we build stability, we build awareness, and we build safety in our movements. So you're knitting the core together as you're lengthening the spine. The chin tucks just a hair, not a big drop of the chin. And in so doing, you can feel you create a little spaciousness where the spinal column enters the brain. Hands on the thighs. So see if you can bring evenness to your body, awareness to your body. So closing your eyes, we'll breathe here for just a couple of breaths. Feeling our breath rise and fall in the body. So the breath begins in the belly, then moves through the diaphragm, feeling it expand, and then feeling the upper chest expand. And then as you exhale, the upper chest drops back down. You can feel the diaphragm lift as there's compression and the ribs draw in and the belly draws in. So if you need to open the eyes for a bit, actually we're going to breathe for more than a couple of breaths. So we're going to breathe in this feeling of fullness, expansion in belly, ribs, then chest. Then as you exhale, you can feel the chest contract again, The ribs and the belly contract as the diaphragm draws up. So this is how we're going to breathe. Belly, ribs, chest. And then exhale, chest, ribs, belly. So closing your eyes if that feels good. Hands on the thighs. And we'll breathe 3 more breaths here. Belly, ribs, chest. And then chest, ribs, belly on the exhale. And as you breathe, bring all your awareness to your body in this present moment. Allow everything to be. Maybe a sense of nervousness about what's to come. Uncertainty if you're doing it right or wrong. Let that all go, but also let it be. Accept it. Recognize it. Can you bring softness to the breath? If you're holding your breath, if you have tension in your body, can you let it go? So if you can do this at any point in your day, anywhere you're sitting, just slide to the front of your seat, align your body, and breathe. Can you let your exhale be a little longer than your inhale? That will tell your central nervous system that you're safe, it can calm down, and you can be calm. So 2 more breaths like this, practicing this beautiful even breath that is central to yoga, central to being present and being mindful. Opening your eyes if they were closed, keeping your spine long, dropping your chin towards the chest. And now you'll roll the right ear towards the right shoulder, and then you're going to roll through and left ear towards left shoulder. So we're going to move from side to side, feeling your range of motion. And again, we don't judge in yoga. We observe, absolutely, and we acknowledge. But we take away the right and the wrong, the good and the bad. And we say, oh, this side is stiffer than that side. Oh boy, I really must be holding tension in my shoulders because my neck is stiff. We say all these things without a storyline, without judgment, bringing softness and bringing grace to every part of our body as we move. Thanking our body for all the decades it has lived, all that it has been through, and how this might be revealed when we move. So finishing on your second side, so if it was left is second, when the left ear meets the left shoulder, and either gently drawing the head up with your hand or just raising it on its own. And now we'll roll our shoulders. So think about the shoulders. We have the bone and the socket. So one way of rolling is just the bone and the socket. I want us to think about stretching all the connective tissue around the shoulder, more than what's inside the socket, because that's kind of us. Yeah, we could have a good range of motion there. That benefits us, but that's also some of our shoulder stability. So let's think about stretching everything around the shoulders. So bringing the shoulders, I can bring my knees together at the same time. That's funny. So bringing the shoulders close together. So imagine yourself straight, bringing the fronts of the shoulders close together, making yourself quite concave. Then taking the shoulders all the way up, then all the way back, and then now you do the opposites. You're going to take the shoulders close together in the back body, hold that closeness, and then take it all the way down to the lowest point as you switch it forward. And then again. So this is a very different shoulder roll. We're going all the way to our maximum capacity. And this is where we will see where our range of motion has become limited, and where maybe our 2 shoulders move quite differently, and it's fine. It is what it is. We've lived lives, we've had injuries, we've carried bags, we've done things, we've carried children, we've raised families, we've cooked, we've fixed cars, we've done all sorts of things in our lives that will turn up in our bodies. One more round. So it takes me a lot of concentration to really get to that outer edge of my range of motion in my shoulders, and then come back down. Let's take a moment, and then we'll go the other direction. So we'll start back. So going back, find that biggest stretch, coming up. So not only are we stretching, but we also are waking up muscles. that possibly haven't moved like this. We're waking up neurological connection points. We're building mental pathways, neurological pathways, rebuilding them, reconnecting them. If we haven't moved like this ever or for a long time, we're actually going to have to recreate some neural pathways to make these movements more familiar. Another reason why yoga is great for our brains as we age. So keep moving. I lost count of how many rounds we did the other side. So I'm thinking one more after this. Get that big roll all the way down. And then the last one. So when you're rolling, avoid, I am popping my ribs out a little as I go back, but you want to avoid super arching the spine. I should have said that. You want to keep your spine as neutral as possible. The upper back is moving. We want to avoid moving the lower back, which does like to get involved. Oh, that was it. Now just do a couple of kind of loosey-goosey, easy rolls. Let's take a hand to the outside of our chair. So gripping right hand to the outside of the chair. Let's just take a big stretch on the left side. But while we do that, we want to glue that left hip down. So we're creating some traction and some distance. Breathe into the intercostals, the in between your ribs, so creating space between your ribs, which will create space for your lungs as you breathe. So same thing, opposite side. Clasp the edge of your chair so you're stable. You're going to root this hip down as you send this upper side of the body away. And then breathe into the ribs, breathe into the upper chest, breathe into that side body. And release. The shoulders will roll. So now I'm going to move a little sideways so you can see what I'm going to. Take your right arm, pull the arm bone out of the shoulder socket and back in. Out of the shoulder socket, back in. So I'm really only moving the arm. This ball joint at the top of the arm, I'm taking it out of the kind of the socket of the shoulder, and then I'm sucking it back in. So arm is about shoulder height. Just get to know that range of motion. Maybe there's not much movement there. Maybe you haven't moved your arm. Maybe your shoulders are quite stuck. Doesn't matter. Just find where your range of motion is. Check how you're sitting. Is your spine long? Release that. Give it a little shake. Other side. Is your torso lifting evenly? So getting that range of motion. Just exploring it. Your amazing body and how it can move. Drop. Now take the arms out to either side. Sorry, I'm doing this vertically phone version, so it's easier to look at on phones or tablets. So my arms are missing out the other side, sorry. So from here, we're going to cross right elbow under left elbow. So crisscross at the elbows, bend at the elbows, backs of the hands are going to come to touch. I'm going to go slightly angled so you can see a bit better. Backs of the hands are going to touch. If you have long arms and it's easy for you, you can then curve the arms around and actually the fingers can clasp each other, but that is really an add-on. It's just literally if your bone structure allows you to do it. Now from here, your arms are going to be roughly, elbows are just kind of hair below the shoulders, round about shoulder height. And before you do anything actually, you want those upper arm bones, that arm bone that we've just been moving in and out of the shoulder socket. You want that in the shoulder socket, and you want the shoulders drawing down away from the ears. And now you want to picture your shoulder blades. You want to slide them off your back as you send the elbows away, arm bones go in back into the arm, palms can move a little bit, the hands can move a little bit away from the face, and then drop the chin to the chest. And you should feel a very big stretch running across the shoulders, maybe even into that diamond shape between the base of the neck and the shoulder blades on either side of the body and the middle back. And then release. And we'll do the other side. So crisscross, left elbow under right. Palms to touch, backs of the hands to touch. Elbows to shoulders, elbows and shoulders roughly shoulder height, maybe elbows a hair below. Arm bone draws back into the shoulder socket. Forearms move away. Sorry, I had a little lag. Sorry, my phone did something weird there for a moment. Side forearms move away. And now you find the stretch. Shoulder blades move off the back body. Chin drops. and breathe. Breathing into the back body and breathing into a stretch. And release the hands. From here, we're going to clasp the hands. We're going to take them up. And on an exhale, we're going to send the hands away. We're going to round the back. So now we're going to slide those shoulder blades off the back. We're going to hollow the belly. So now we are rounding the back. But we're actually tipping the pelvis. We're tucking the pelvis back and we're hollowing. You can engage the belly here. Take the hands down. And then we're going to flip our spine back to our natural spine, arms to the sky. And then exhale. Inhale, take the hands up. And exhale. So your hands are clasped, palms are facing away from you. Inhale up. Exhale. Now, take the hands up. Palms still facing away. You're going to tap the backs of the hands to the crown of the head. Take the arms up. Tap. Take a couple of taps here. I always find this surprisingly difficult and tiring. So there's strengthening here. We're not moving with weights, but there is great range of motion and strength work here. And release. Give the arms just kind of a happy shake and then switch your clasp. So I should have said that most of us have a natural clasp. You probably went to it that time. Find your unnatural clasp, the one where your thumbs feel a little weird. Clasp the hands, take the arms up, and then exhale. Inhale up, and exhale. So again, use your breath as you exhale. It'll help you engage the core. We're moving in the shoulders. We're releasing tension. And take the hands to crown the head, take them up, tap them down, take them up, tap them down, take them up, tap them down. Again, surprisingly tiring. And release. One last stretch for the wrists and the shoulders. This time around, we're going to clasp the hands. Again, clasp the hands. But this time around, instead of flipping them, we're going to face the palms of front towards us. Take the hands away. Keep your hands shoulder height. I'm only shifting my arms to show you what we're doing. So I'm going to keep the left wrist bent. We're going to pull, with interlaced fingers, we're going to pull this hand back. So you get a stretch across the back of that wrist. This is a great counterpoint to a lot of our modern use of our hands, typing, phones, thumbs, wrists, a lot of the overuse of our wrists that a lot of us suffer from. So just enjoy that stretch. And then we'll do the other side. It's the same thing. You're going to bend across the back of that wrist. You're going to pull down. The other arm remains straight. You're going to pull down. And rather keep it more shoulder height because then we'll get a bigger stretch. And again, we're not pulling the arm out the shoulder. We're keeping it beautiful and stable in the shoulder socket. And breathe here. And release. Give your shoulders some rolls. So now we'll warm up our hips.